Welcome to Lost and Hidden History. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In the heart of ancient Egypt, a time of pharaohs and mystics, a profound mystery was taking shape. A figure shrouded in myth and legend began to etch his wisdom into the annals of time. He was known as Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice greatest Hermes, the reputed author of the Corpus Hermeticum and founder of Hermeticism. His teachings, a blend of science, mysticism, and philosophy, were so influential in antiquity that they reverberated throughout the halls of history, influencing great minds from Pythagoras to Isaac Newton. The Hermetic philosophy was said to contain the keys to the mysteries of the universe. Its central tenet was the principle of correspondence, encapsulated in the axiom, as above, so below. According to this principle, the laws of physics governing the macrocosm, or the universe, also applied to the microcosm, the individual human being. This revolutionary idea suggested a profound interconnectedness between the human being and the universe, a concept that was both empowering and terrifying to those in power. However, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus were not embraced by all. At the dawn of the modern era, around the 15th century, the Corpus Hermeticum, the primary text of Hermeticism, was deemed heretical by the Catholic Church. The teachings were suppressed, considered dangerous and subversive to the established order. As a result, the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus was driven underground, concealed in secret societies and initiatory orders. This suppression reached its peak during the Inquisition, when the Church systematically eradicated heretical teachings and their followers. But why was the Church so threatened by these teachings? The Hermetic philosophy challenged the dominance of the Church, proposing an alternative spiritual worldview that emphasized personal spiritual growth over dogmatic religious practices. More significantly, it threatened to undermine the Church's control over the interpretation of the divine and the path to salvation. In the eyes of the Church, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus were a direct challenge to its spiritual authority. Yet despite the efforts to erase these teachings from history, the wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus persisted. His ideas survived in the esoteric traditions of alchemy, astrology, and the Kabbalah. They emerged in the Renaissance, influencing the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment, and today they continue to inspire those who seek a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it. In the next segment, we will delve deeper into the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus and explore their contemporary relevance. The suppression of the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus did not occur in a vacuum, but was a product of a broader historical, political, and cultural context. It was a time when the Catholic Church held immense power, not just in spiritual matters, but also in politics, education, and the societal structure of the day. The Church was the gatekeeper of knowledge, and it guarded this role fiercely. During the Middle Ages, the Church established its authority through the interpretation of religious texts, primarily the Bible. These interpretations were disseminated through sermons, religious education, and through the confessional booth. The Church essentially controlled the narrative of what was considered sacred and divine, and any deviation from this was considered heretical. This control extended to interpretations of the natural world as well, which was seen through a religious lens. However, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus offered a different perspective. They suggested that each individual could access divine wisdom and spiritual enlightenment without the need for a religious intermediary, such as the Church. This was a radical and threatening idea in a time when the Church held a monopoly on spiritual understanding. It undermined the Church's authority and threatened its control over the populace. Moreover, the socio-political environment at the time was one of strict hierarchies and rigid class structures. The Church was part of the ruling elite, alongside monarchs and nobility. The idea that each individual, regardless of their social status, could access divine wisdom was not only religiously heretical, but also politically subversive. It challenged the established order and threatened to disrupt societal norms. This was also a time when literacy rates were low, and the Church held a monopoly on education. The Latin language, used by the Church and the educated elite, was a barrier for the common folk. The Hermetic teachings, however, were not bound by such constraints. They promoted a universal wisdom accessible to all, irrespective of their education or social status. This further threatened the Church's control over knowledge and its role as the intermediary between the divine and the masses. In the cultural context of the time, the esoteric nature of Hermetic teachings was also viewed with suspicion and fear. The Middle Ages was a period of superstition, and anything that was not understood or that deviated from the norm was often labeled as witchcraft or devilry. The Hermetic teachings, with their emphasis on astrology, alchemy, and the occult, were easy targets for such accusations. So, in the face of these perceived threats to its authority, the Church took measures to suppress the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, labeling them as heretical and dangerous. However, as we will see, even this wide-reaching suppression could not completely erase the influence of Hermeticism. Its teachings found ways to survive and continue to influence thought and culture, even in our modern world. In the late 19th century, a remarkable discovery was made that challenged the accepted narrative that Hermetic teachings were mere heresies. This discovery was none other than the Corpus Hermeticum, a compendium of texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. Found in a dusty corner of an old Macedonian library by archaeologist Arthur Evans, the Corpus Hermeticum was a significant artifact that breathed new life into the suppressed teachings of Hermes. The Corpus Hermeticum was written in Greek and contained 16 books that covered a wide array of topics, from astrology and alchemy to philosophy and theology. These texts were believed to contain the wisdom of the ancient world, a wisdom that transcended the religious and scientific knowledge of the time. Evans's discovery was groundbreaking. These texts were not just religious or philosophical treatises, they were a testament to a worldview that challenged the established norms. The Corpus Hermeticum suggested that the universe was not a chaotic and random place, but a cosmos, an ordered and harmonious whole. It proposed a pantheistic view of the world, where God was not a distant deity, but the divine essence present in everything. The discovery of the Corpus Hermeticum also presented a challenge to the Church's long-standing monopoly on spiritual knowledge. Here was a set of teachings that offered an alternative path to spiritual wisdom, one that did not require the mediation of the Church or its hierarchy. It was an idea that was as revolutionary as it was threatening to the established order. But perhaps the most significant aspect of Evans's discovery was that it gave us a glimpse into the depth and richness of Hermetic thought. These texts revealed a sophisticated understanding of the universe, one that was both spiritual and scientific. They showed us that the Hermetic teachings were not just simple heresies, but a complex and nuanced system of thought that had the potential to challenge and enrich our understanding of the world. The discovery of the Corpus Hermeticum was a turning point in our understanding of Hermeticism. It was a testament to the resilience of these teachings, their ability to survive centuries of suppression and persecution. And it was a reminder that sometimes the most profound wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places. The discovery of the Corpus Hermeticum gives us, even today, an opportunity to revisit and reassess the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, to explore the depths of their meaning, and to consider their relevance in our modern world. It serves as a stark reminder of the resilience and endurance of ideas, even in the face of fierce opposition and suppression. Unraveling the teachings within the Corpus Hermeticum, we encounter a multi-layered, complex system of thought. Far from being a mere collection of mystical ramblings, these texts present a synthesis of philosophy, science, and spirituality that challenges our conventional understanding of these disciplines. At the heart of the Hermetic teachings is the concept of correspondences, often summarized by the phrase, "as above, so below." This axiom encapsulates the belief in a microcosmic, macrocosmic correspondence that pervades all of existence. Simply put, patterns repeated across different levels of reality, from the smallest particle to the vast expanses of the cosmos. This principle contradicts the mechanistic worldview that dominated in the 17th century and still exerts a significant influence on modern science. Whereas the mechanistic view sees the universe as a machine operating according to fixed laws, the Hermetic view sees it as a living organism, animated by a divine spirit and connected through a complex web of correspondences. Moreover, the Hermetic teachings propose an inherent divinity within every individual. They posit that human beings are not mere mortals, but divine beings, capable of realizing their inherent godhood. This idea is a radical departure from the established religious doctrines that see divinity as an external, transcendent entity. The notion of an inherent divinity within individuals threatens to upend conventional religious hierarchies, undermining the need for intermediaries between the individual and the divine. The texts also suggest that knowledge of these correspondences and the inherent divinity of the individual could be used to manipulate reality. This is the basis of Hermetic magic, a practice that sought to harness these correspondences to bring about change in the material world. Such a practice, if validated, would pose a significant threat to the established religious and scientific authorities. It would suggest that individuals could directly influence the world around them, bypassing the need for religious intercession or scientific intervention. Finally, the Hermetic teachings propose a different understanding of the nature of truth. They suggest that truth is not fixed and absolute, as many established doctrines would have us believe, but relative and multidimensional. This view challenges our conventional ways of knowing and understanding the world, inviting us to embrace ambiguity, paradox, and the possibility of multiple truths. In sum, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, as encapsulated in the Corpus Hermeticum, present a radical alternative to established religious and scientific paradigms. They invite us to reimagine our place in the cosmos, our relationship with the divine, and the nature of reality itself. And in doing so, they continue to challenge, provoke, and inspire more than 2,000 years after they were first penned. As we delve into the authenticity of the Hermetic teachings, we encounter a realm of debate and controversy. The first major validation of the Corpus Hermeticum's authenticity came from Marsilio Ficino, an Italian scholar of the 15th century. Ficino was commissioned by Cosimo de' Medici, the ruler of the Florentine Republic, to translate the Corpus Hermeticum from Greek into Latin. Ficino believed that the works were of ancient Egyptian origin, written by Hermes Trismegistus himself, a figure he believed to be a contemporary of Moses. Ficino's validation of the Corpus Hermeticum gave it significant credibility during the Renaissance, leading to its widespread acceptance among the scholars and intellectuals of the period. His translations fueled the Renaissance's renewed interest in the occult and the esoteric, paving the way for the rise of Hermeticism as a significant intellectual and spiritual movement. However, Ficino's validation was later challenged by Isaac Casaubon, a Swiss philologist and scholar of the late 16th and early 17th centuries. Casaubon, in his examination of the Corpus Hermeticum, concluded that it was not of ancient Egyptian origin, but was likely written in the early centuries of the Common Era, around the same time as the Gnostic texts. This claim, if true, would dramatically change the perceived authenticity and historical significance of the Hermetic teachings. Casaubon's assertion was based on linguistic and stylistic analyses of the texts. He argued that the Greek used in the Corpus Hermeticum was not the classical Greek of ancient Egypt, but the Koine Greek of the early Common Era. Furthermore, he suggested that the philosophical and religious ideas expressed in the texts bore more resemblance to the Gnostic and Neoplatonist thought of the Common Era than to the religious and philosophical traditions of ancient Egypt. Casaubon's challenge to the authenticity of the Corpus Hermeticum was a significant blow to the Hermetic tradition. It led to a decline in the status of Hermeticism, relegating it to the periphery of intellectual and spiritual discourse. However, despite Casaubon's critique, the Hermetic teachings have continued to exert a profound influence on Western esotericism, inspiring numerous occult and spiritual movements throughout history. While there remains debate about the authenticity and origins of the Hermetic teachings, what is undeniable is their enduring impact and the provocative questions they pose about our understanding of reality, the divine, and our place within the cosmos. Whether penned by an ancient Egyptian sage or a group of early Common Era mystics, The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus continue to challenge, provoke, and inspire. Delving deeper into the suppression of the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, it becomes evident that a variety of methods were employed. The first and most obvious strategy was censorship. During the Inquisition in the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church sought to suppress any form of knowledge that was considered heretical, including the Hermetic teachings. Books were burned, and anyone found possessing or disseminating such material was severely punished. Ridicule was another powerful tool used to suppress these teachings. The mainstream academic community often dismissed Hermetic philosophy as pseudoscience or superstition. This dismissal was not only prevalent in the Middle Ages, but continued well into the modern era. Even top universities like Cambridge and Oxford refused to recognize Hermeticism as a legitimate field of study. The disappearance of texts was another form of suppression. Many of the original manuscripts of the Corpus Hermeticum have vanished over time, and it is suspected that this disappearance was not accidental. Whether through deliberate destruction or simply neglect, the loss of these texts has greatly hindered our understanding of Hermes Trismegistus's teachings. Academic dismissal, however, was perhaps the most insidious form of suppression. Scholars like Isaac Casaubon undermined the authenticity of the Hermetic teachings, casting doubt on their historical significance. Casaubon's argument, supported by his linguistic analysis, became widely accepted within the academic community. As a result, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus were largely dismissed as a product of the Common Era, rather than the ancient wisdom they claimed to be. But who stood to gain from this suppression? It's important to recognize the political, religious, and intellectual power dynamics at play. The Catholic Church, for example, had a vested interest in maintaining control over spiritual knowledge and practice. The Church's authority was threatened by any teachings that diverged from its dogma. Similarly, academic institutions had a stake in upholding the perceived legitimacy and authority of their established disciplines. Hermetic teachings, with their emphasis on direct personal engagement with the divine, challenged both religious and academic hegemonies. Furthermore, the ruling elites, whether religious or secular, often feared the potential social upheaval that could be incited by the spread of esoteric knowledge. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, with their emphasis on the divine spark within every individual and the potential for personal transcendence, could inspire people to question and challenge authority. In the next segment, we will delve into the Renaissance, the period in history when Hermetic teachings experienced a revival. We will explore the figures who played a significant role in this resurgence and the impact of Hermeticism on the arts, sciences, and spirituality during this time. As we delve deeper into the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, we find ourselves stepping into an almost mystical realm of spirituality, philosophy, and the occult. This is not the world of empirical fact and hard data, but rather a realm of thought and belief that asks us to reevaluate our understanding of reality and our place within it. Take, for instance, the idea of the divine spark. The Hermetic texts speak of man as a dual creature, both earthly and heavenly, with a divine spark within him that is a fragment of the divine whole. This is not simply a metaphorical concept, but a deeply spiritual one that suggests a profound connection between humanity and the cosmos. This concept of the divine spark mirrors similar teachings in other spiritual traditions, such as the Hindu concept of Atman, the Buddhist idea of Buddha nature, and the Christian notion of the soul. These teachings all suggest that within each individual lies a divine essence, a spark of the infinite that connects us to the universe and to each other. This, in turn, implies a sense of unity and interconnectedness that transcends our ordinary understanding of self and other. Furthermore, the Hermetic teachings suggest that this divine spark can be nurtured and cultivated, leading to personal transformation and spiritual enlightenment. This idea of personal transformation is a powerful one, challenging the status quo and empowering individuals to seek their own path towards wisdom and understanding. In the Hermetic view, we are not passive recipients of knowledge, but active participants in our own spiritual journey. This is a radical departure from conventional religious and academic hierarchies, where knowledge is often seen as something to be handed down from on high. Instead, the Hermetic teachings encourage us to seek out knowledge for ourselves, to question, ponder, and explore. The implications of this are profound. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus offer us a different way of understanding ourselves and our relationship to the universe. They suggest that we are not mere cogs in a cosmic machine, but divine beings with a vital role to play in the cosmic drama. They challenge us to question our assumptions, to think deeply about our place in the cosmos, and to seek out our own path towards wisdom and understanding. The suppression of these teachings, then, is more than just a loss of historical knowledge. It is a silencing of a perspective that could radically alter our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. It is a denial of a spiritual tradition that offers a powerful alternative to the dominant paradigms of our time. And it is a reminder of the lengths to which those in power will go to maintain their control over knowledge and belief. Although the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus have been largely overlooked by mainstream academia, whispers of this hidden history persist in modern pop culture, conspiracy circles, and underground movements. These traces serve as a testament to the enduring allure of the Hermetic wisdom and its potential to challenge the status quo. In the realm of pop culture, themes echoing Hermeticism can be found in literature, cinema, and music. For instance, the science fiction novel The Kybalion by Three Initiates is a reinterpretation of Hermetic principles for the modern age. In cinema, films like The Matrix and Inception explore Hermetic themes like the nature of reality and the power of the mind. Even in music, bands like Tool and artists like David Bowie have incorporated Hermetic themes into their lyrics and imagery. In the world of conspiracy theory, Hermeticism often plays a central role. The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus have been linked to secret societies like the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians, both of which are rumored to possess hidden wisdom from the ancient world. Some conspiracy theorists believe that these societies are guardians of the suppressed teachings of Hermes, and that they use this knowledge to exert control over global events. Meanwhile, in underground spiritual movements, Hermeticism is often embraced as a path towards personal transformation and spiritual enlightenment. Here, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus are viewed not as archaic relics of the past, but as timeless wisdom that can help individuals navigate the challenges of modern life. These movements range from solitary practitioners to organized groups, each seeking to explore and apply the Hermetic principles in their own way. Yet despite these disparate strands, there is a common thread that unites them all, a recognition of the transformative potential of the Hermetic teachings, and a desire to challenge the dominant paradigms of our time. Whether it's through a science fiction novel, a conspiracy theory, or an underground spiritual movement, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus continue to inspire, provoke, and challenge us to question our assumptions about reality. In this sense, the suppression of the Hermetic teachings has not extinguished their influence. Instead, it has pushed them into the shadows, where they continue to flicker and glow, casting their ancient light upon those who are willing to look beyond the surface of our world. Despite the attempts to silence them, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus live on, whispering their timeless wisdom to those who dare to listen. As we delve deeper into the realm of the extraordinary, we come across interpretations that stretch the fabric of common understanding, linking the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus to narratives that might sound implausible to the conventional mind. These theories, born in the fringes of accepted knowledge, add an intriguing layer to the Hermetic lore. Consider the hypothesis of ancient alien theorists who proposed that Hermes Trismegistus was not a product of earthly wisdom, but an extraterrestrial entity. They argue that his profound knowledge and advanced teachings could have originated from a civilization far superior to ours, perhaps from the distant corners of the cosmos. According to this theory, the Hermetic wisdom might be a fragment of an advanced cosmic doctrine, brought to Earth by Hermes Trismegistus, the divine emissary. The ancient alien theorists point to the Hermetic principles themselves to support their claim. The principle of correspondence, for instance, which states, "as above, so below," is interpreted as a reference to the interconnection between the cosmos and Earth, suggesting a shared origin and destiny. Could this be Hermes subtly hinting at his extraterrestrial origin and the cosmic roots of his wisdom? Another radical interpretation links the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus to the idea of secret bloodlines, claiming that certain families or lineages have safeguarded the Hermetic wisdom through generations. These custodians of knowledge, it is believed, have harnessed the teachings of Hermes for their own ends, using the wisdom to maintain control, wealth, or power. This theory often intersects with conspiracy theories involving secret societies, implying a clandestine network of influence driven by Hermetic wisdom. Moving further into the fringe, some theories propose that the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus hold the keys to understanding lost civilizations. These lost civilizations, such as Atlantis or Lemuria, are believed to have been highly advanced societies where Hermetic wisdom was not just known, but lived and practiced. The disappearance of these civilizations, so the argument goes, led to the suppression of Hermetic wisdom, its echoes only found in the remnants of ancient scriptures and mythologies. These radical interpretations, while certainly unorthodox, underscore the enduring allure of the Hermetic teachings. Whether viewed through the lens of ancient aliens, secret bloodlines, or lost civilizations, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus continue to captivate our imagination, intriguing us with the promise of hidden wisdom and the allure of forbidden knowledge. Bearing in mind these myriad interpretations and theories, we are left to ponder some haunting questions. What remains lost in the annals of time, concealed in the labyrinth of history, and preserved only in the shrouded recesses of arcane wisdom? Could there be truths yet to be revealed, concealed within the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, like latent seeds awaiting the right conditions for germination? And if more of the Hermetic wisdom remains hidden, who might still be harboring it? Could there exist clandestine guardians of knowledge, perhaps descendants of those ancient bloodlines we spoke of earlier, maintaining a silent vigil over the teachings of Hermes? Or could there be shadowy societies driven by esoteric agendas who have managed to keep this wisdom under wraps, away from the prying eyes of the mainstream world? Even more tantalizing is the question of how history might be reshaped should more of the Hermetic wisdom ever surface. If we could unravel the true depth and breadth of the Hermetic teachings, how might our understanding of the past change? Would we see, for instance, the rise and fall of civilizations in a new light? Could we decode myths and legends in ways we never thought possible? Would our perception of the cosmos and our place within it undergo a dramatic shift? And then there's the question of how this knowledge, if revealed, might impact our future. Could it unlock new pathways of scientific discovery and technological innovation? Could it provide us with the tools to solve our most pressing problems, or even help us achieve societal harmony and personal enlightenment? The teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, as we have seen, have a tantalizingly elusive quality. Like a cosmic puzzle, they invite us to delve deeper, to probe further, to question more. They beckon us towards the unknown, towards the mysteries that lie beyond the familiar contours of our understanding. They remind us that our quest for knowledge, for truth, is never-ending. As we conclude this journey, we are left with more questions than answers. But perhaps that is as it should be, for the quest for knowledge is a journey without a final destination. It is a perpetual voyage, a continuous exploration, a relentless pursuit. And in this quest, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus serve as a beacon, a guiding light that illuminates the path ahead, even as it plunges us deeper into the enigma of the unknown. It is in this spirit of inquiry, of openness, of wonder, that we continue our exploration, stepping into the future with eyes wide open, ready to embrace whatever mysteries and revelations might lie ahead. Thanks for listening. This has been Lost and Hidden History. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.